everything. It all belongs to God. It all belongs to us, therefore. Us. We got this hidden tax. This is how we carry the national debt. $30 trillion. They raise your cost of living, water down the money. You understand how that works? And it always falls on the backs of the poorest. It always hurts them the most. A lot of people are cushioned, insulated. They get cost of living adjustments. And they are able to vote themselves raises in the Congress and Senate, these politicians. They're steering the ship. They create the policies we live under. Policy, the policing, the laws. Basically, your reality is being shaped by psychopathic madmen, murderers. Thank God that we have intelligent, God-fearing people in our law enforcement and military that aren't going to do with these people. I mean, some of these politicians are nutbags, I'm telling you. They're straight up psychos. They're into money. Look into it. They're all, almost every one of them is a multimillionaire in the Congress. They get paid very handsomely for doing these jobs. They're public servants, for God's sake. They're no better in my mind. They're more, hell no more valuable than your garbage man. Way less valuable. You think we couldn't live with all these politicians? As long as you got your local sheriff, we could live fine without these politicians, all of them. They're sick, man. And they're the ones that have rubber stamped this national debt and putting it on the backs of the poor, always paying it through a hidden tax called the cost of living. And meanwhile, they say, oh, we're going to tax the rich, the Democrat. I want to know which party stands for abundant affordable housing. That's the party. You see, they would win if that's our issue. The Democrats say, "Oh, we want affordable housing, abundant affordable. No more developments in your local community until they put adequate. We got all this need for affordable housing. No more developments until you make damn sure that people can live a middle class life and they can be homeowners on a minimum wage job like it used to be in this country. Just to be even Steven with the early '60s, how it was." No progress. I'm not asking for any progress here. I just say we got to go back, man. We've regressed so far from the reality I remember as a child, my friends. So where is that party? Last week I was talking about how I got my real estate license here in California because I wanted to get into developing affordable housing. Truly affordable, like it used to be in this country. And then I found out I couldn't do it because I thought, oh my God, you meet the mayor and these people, these city council people, and they're Democrats and Republicans. They collude. They don't want problems fixed. Friends, you understand people's job relevance, their job security, the food on their table, the roof over their heads depends on the problems persisting and preferably increasing. You understand? Because without the problems in society, many jobs, well-paying jobs, would dry up. If you just ended unaffordable housing and everybody could afford housing, you'd have no need for the Section 8, the housing authority. One example of many, friends. The crime would dry up if we didn't have desperate poverty. It drives the vast majority of crime. Not all of it. Sure, there's crimes of passion. There'll probably still be that sort of thing. But our reality would be so much better than it is now if we could have a semblance of fairness in society. We don't have it. People doing jobs that are imperative to the welfare of society are being cheated and stolen from. We marginalize and subjugate these people working on farms and in factories and countless other jobs that are underpaid. Am I saying the answer is to pay them more and just keep increasing their pay? Now that's being a pipe dreamer. No, I'm saying minimum wage albeit it was $1 in the early 60s, could afford you a middle class lifestyle, home ownership. Your wife could stay home, take care of the family if she wanted to. And that minimum wage could be a quarter today, 25 cents, but be worth more. That's if we were making just a little bit of steady progress in regards to true capitalism, which involves supply and demand. It's an integral part of capitalism, supply and demand. But the wealth isn't being shared. You see, it gets easier and easier and easier to produce all the things we want and need. It's that simple, really, to explain it to you. So you see how you would identify progress. Your money steadily, gradually goes up in worth. The people don't care how little. Hey, if the fear is being lifted, the fear of financial insecurity, homelessness, desperate poverty, that fear, the one that drives most of the crime, if that was even gradually being lifted over time, we would feel better and better and better. Our psyches would be better and better and better as we're coming out of fear. We see it, more joy, more happiness, more peace and contentment, harmony, safety, security, freedom, prosperity. All those things we all want would gradually be increasing, and we'd be getting happier and happier, and God would be happy for us. You understand? Better and better and better. That's progress. That's what's supposed to happen. Is that what's happened? My whole life it's been going the other direction since they murdered JFK. Who's they? I don't know. All I know is he was getting rid of the Federal Reserve. He was already circulating a new dollar. People were taking to it just fine. We didn't care. We trusted JFK. He was a good American. He was an egalitarian. He was into fairness. Okay? And sharing the wealth that was being generated. Okay? Being a good parent to the American people. We knew that. And we were well on our way to being free. It would be a rising tide of prosperity that lifted all ships. Then we would have set a truly beautiful, shining light example to the rest of the world on what to do and how to do it. But your money's got to go up in worth. And all they've done is the opposite. They don't want you to understand fundamentally. I mean, even we got to play this game because, you see, when you look at things through God's point of view, it transcends all this crap, all this economic debate, discussion, all this political crap too. It's all the same how they're going to spend the money, the wealth that's being generated. We all know that every nation creates wealth and it's by the workers. Those that are productive out there create the wealth that we could trade with other countries to enrich us. The value it buys the gold and silver and everything else that we consider valuable. It's all a big freaking scam, friends, to rip you off, to cheat you, to steal from you, the masses. They need huge swaths of the population, desperate, never able to arise from poverty. So they set up these social welfare programs. Oh, you're going to be a loser? We got to come in and help these poor, dumb, defective people. Whatever their problem is, they're in serious, dire straits financially. We got to give them food stamps, and we got to give them Section 8 housing. We got to help them, right? Even though they've created the problems. We got to set up these jails. We got to be willing to pay $100,000 a year per inmate per year once they commit a crime. We're not going to talk about how easy it'd be to prevent it, how much cheaper it'd be. We're not going to talk about that. You understand? I'm not crazy. This world is crazy. This secular world religious system is crazy. It's insane. Who wants to stick up for it? Who really wants to stick up and say, rah, let's keep going on this path, on this trajectory, this ship of fools, careening to destruction, la, 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 just, put your fingers in your ear and close your eyes. And I don't want to hear anybody saying there's anything wrong with the direction civilization's going. Our society is going. Nothing wrong. We're not going to talk about why the crimes are being committed, prevented, our culture, how our culture causes so many of the problems we have. No, we're going to say, we need more cops. We need, more law enforcement to bust these people and to punish them more and keep them in jail longer. And that's the answer. We're not going to talk about what drives it, how to prevent it. You see, I'm crazy. I mean, I don't want to be cynical. Who wants to be cynical? But when I look around me and say, oh my God, there's something so wrong. All these problems are so easily solved. These big social problems that we look at as overwhelming, like homelessness and stuff. And I say how easy and how much cheaper it'd be to solve these problems than what we're doing now. And people, no, we're just gonna stay. Don't rock the boat. We just, we got a perpetual crisis. We got to build tiny houses and pallet shelters and campgrounds for the homeless. And I don't know. It's just overwhelming. We just not enough money. We don't know. Provide affordable housing. Well, shut up. I don't know. No, high housing costs are good. No, it's good because you're equity. You understand? See, it used to be the majority of California residents were homeowners, not anymore. So the mainstream media tells you how good it is when housing prices are going up, the values. They don't call it the cost. Like how there's a direct correlation between the cost you pay for rent and housing. When housing values go up, okay, landlords say, I can get more for my rents because you'd have to pay more if you were buying a house. So I'm just going to make you pay that, even though unearned. Why? Well, you bought the house for X, landlord. Why are you, well, I got to keep up with my peers. I need to be respected in the sight of my peers. I'll never forget a Gilligan's Island episode when, the rich billionaire Mr. Howell, Thurston Howell III, found out that his rents, because he's stranded on the island, he didn't know, but he had the lowest rents in Manhattan. And he was ashamed. He starts crying because, it's acting, because he seems like a really nice guy in reality, but he acts this part. But, because, it's shameful in the sight of his peers that he had the lowest rents. Come on, man. Come on, get with the program. We got to collude together here. Shh. Don't talk about it. Just do it. Raise your rents. We can't talk about it because that's collusion. Shh. Shh. And the politicians, why would the politicians go along? Well, they got the financial institutions in their pockets. The bankers, remember, the more money the banks rent out, and essentially, isn't that what they're doing? They get money from the Federal Reserve, right? And then they rent the money out to you. What a great gig. We should all have that gig, right? Why not? I mean, they get personal banker. Sure, you want to borrow some money? So we're all doing, well, if we're all lenders, there ain't going to be no borrowers. Just like if we're all landlords, there ain't going to be no tenants. You see, the problems are highly solvable, but it's not in the interest of the status quo. The establishmentarians, the elitists, those that live outside the bounds of God's will, that don't want to live by the golden rule. They don't want a level playing field. They don't want things fair. They don't want to treat you as they would their own children. You understand? Or as their family, their brothers or sisters. No. That's special. That's for them. And you got your own problem. They divorce themselves from other human beings as if they're a superior race. What do you think that does in the mind of God? Are they really tuned into the mind of God, the heart of God? Are they praying every day? Are they looking for ways to be a better human being, to be a nicer human being, to be a more likable human being by themselves? Do they even care? Or do they say, I'm not into self-improvement? No, it's not for me. That's for you. You goody two-shoes. I think you're wasting your time spinning your wheels. This is all about making money. Doesn't matter whose toes you step on. Doesn't matter whose throat you got to cut, just so it's not your own family. But if it's other people, then they're lesser beings. I mean, that's the whole spirit, the mentality of this secular pagan world system. That's it. That it's okay. Screw others before they screw you. That's why, Rich Dad, right? Hey, become an investor and get into being a landlord and you can make gobs of dough, and here's how. So everybody scrambles, okay, I'm jumping on the bandwagon, and that's what's really happened. I've watched that go on for decades. That, room for one more. Keep coming. Hurry up. Get on board before it's all sewn up. Because once all the investors buy all the housing and anything new that's being built, they buy that too and turn that into a boarding house, a B&B or something. And hey, it's just every man for himself, man. But if you didn't get on the bandwagon in time, you might be stuck renting. And then when you're too weak and old to cut the mustard and crack that nut, you can't earn enough money, then that's you out there on the street, homeless. So if you don't do some fancy footwork, okay, and pull a rabbit out of the hat, then you're going down the tubes because obviously there ain't enough money left in the Section 8. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any homelessness because the definition of what the program is to provide housing for those